I miss being bored. And I wasn't aware of that until recently, because now I moved into a new studio, and here, in my new studio, I had some space, and so I could bring my old stereo with me, the one that I bought about 20 years ago, when I was maybe 15 or 16 years old. And putting it here means that I can now listen to my old CDs, something that I'm very happy about, but totally reminds me of a different time. Because, to be honest, I don't remember when I was bored the last time. And I mean seriously bored. I don't mean bored like this, scrolling through social media and then being bored by what you're seeing there. I mean sitting somewhere or lying somewhere without any external stimulus in a complete sense of nothingness. Because in the last years, it was extremely hard for me to fully immerse into something. Like listening to a CD was. And so doing one thing, whatever that is, always feels like there's just another thing behind it. There's just another thing that I could do instead. And being a freelancer, being self-employed, always has that nagging question: how is the thing that I'm doing right now good for me and maybe my business? And if that isn't good, well, let's move on to the next thing that might be good for what I'm doing. But that, of course, that leads to a complete reduction. You might have heard of that. No, this is not entirely correct in Latin, but I think you'll understand it. It's the Homo economicus, viewing a human being as something that has an economic value. And here's the problem why I think that it's very hard for me to allow myself even to be bored. Because when I'm bored, that means, and if I'm really bored, I'm just sitting around or lying around doing absolutely nothing. And so in terms of this, in terms of the Homo economicus, my economic value when I'm lying around is 0, nothing. And when I was 15 or 16 years old and I bought the stereo, I think I didn't care about that. And looking back, I think that's quite a good thing. Now my question for you, of course, is, can you allow yourself to be bored? Can you just sit down and do nothing? For me, this is really hard because I always have this in mind. Even though deep down I know being bored is a good thing. And here's one example. Because I know I've had some of my best ideas in my youth while I was mindlessly strumming on the guitar. Those might have been ideas I had in music, for school, for what to do with my life, and so many ideas in general. And I think I'd love to allow myself more to be bored again. Because the availability of the internet and everything we find there, leaves us under the impression that in terms of economic value, we might be doing something that's valuable for us. But to be honest, if you think about the feeling that spending time online leaves you with, what is that feeling? With that in mind, I think it's better to be bored sometimes, and out of that boredom, create something that makes a difference. And I just remembered that maybe 1.5 years ago, I did have a moment when I allowed myself to be really bored. All of a sudden there was this melody in my head, and I just recently remembered this, and now I'm turning this into my intro for my live streams. And currently it sounds like this. It's still a work in progress. something like this. I still need to refine it. I'm not a perfect piano player, but this is my point. If you take the time to let something happen and you don't distract yourself with the things that are available and just distract you, then I think we can all create amazing things.